Hey guys, welcome back to the Thermal Gard Window and Door Podcast. Super excited about today's episode. Another local business here who's kind of big in our area, working on a big project right now. So that's kind of why we're here, so he can talk a little bit about that and how he got started. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you guys Emily. She's a part of our marketing team here at Thermal Gard Window and Door. How you doing today, Emily?
I'm doing really well. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. So Emily's going to be here in and out of the podcast here, helping us with episodes. We're excited. But I also want to introduce the star of today's show, our guest, Les. Les, thanks for coming on. He's with Elite Drone Services. And so we're real chill here. We just really want to know more about you, your business, how you got started, kind of the challenges you had to overcome throughout the years, and bring us up to speed to today. So if you want to start from where are you from?
Originally from Van Wert, Ohio.
Okay.
Graduated from Lakeview in '82, so I'm a little bit older. Then years progressed, and we bought a home in Delphos now.
Okay.
Been living there for about 11 years.
Awesome. So kind of take us into, I guess, your professional career, kind of how you got started or where the idea came from.
I've always been involved in remote control.
Okay.
Back in my probably early teens, always been involved in it. And then got into remote control truck racing. Used to travel around probably a 60-mile radius probably. And with trucks, cars, had kids later on, and that kind of took the money away from the funds for that. Got out of that for several years.
Yeah.
And then things kind of settled down. Then we got into remote control airplanes and kind of self-taught myself that. Bought a video one day at a hobby shop and watched that. And one day a buddy came down and we were out testing the airplane there in the back grass. We had a large field in the back there. We're just going up and down, just get it up, take it back down, just get in the feel of the controls. And like the last time there, I just took it up. It's either do or die.
Yeah.
So it took me probably a good 15 minutes to get actually control of it. Brought it in for a landing, and that was it. Never crashed it. But I had crashes after that, though.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But that initial flight on there went actually flawless. I was surprised as far as landing. So we fueled it back up, took back off, and away we went.
Yeah.
That advanced into helicopters and more airplanes. At some point in time about there, I got into amateur radio, and I made an ATV transmitter. So we could transmit audio and video via the ham radio waves.
Okay.
So I mounted a small, I think it was like a 160 by 120 DPI camera on that with a 5-watt transmitter, and put a downlink converter, I think it was in like the 400 megahertz band, put a downlink converter on a picnic table with a 13-inch tube TV wired to that. Then I could fly the airplane with the tube TV.
And streaming to the TV.
Streaming to the TV, and that was back in 1993.
So that's way before DJI and any sort of drone. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's been, 25, 35, almost 40 years ago, about right?
Okay.
25, no, not quite 25. Yeah, 35 years ago, 34 years ago.
That's amazing. So how long were you flying planes and helicopters remotely before you mounted your first camera?
Probably a couple years, probably.
A couple years.
A couple years.
Okay.
I've got I have no camera equipment left, no transmitter. I wish I had it. That would be on the shelf probably with a sign behind it probably. Mm-hmm. I've got several pictures left from it that I took with mounted a 35 millimeter camera on the plane, on the bottom of that, and then I could use an extra channel on the transmitter, just kind of line it up and hope and pray you're where you want to be at on it, and get it in frame, snap the picture, and try it again. I would say biggest percentage of them were out of frame. Yeah. Some of them were dead on. How I don't know.
A lot of practice.
Yeah, I've still got a few of them at home there, some of the best ones. Most of them I gave away to the neighbors and that. They liked them. And back then we didn't have digital copies of them. I'm sure the negatives are long lost now.
Right.
But I've still got a few of the pictures. I think they're actually posted on my drone page, I believe.
Okay.
And I've
That's
got
amazing.
one. I don't remember when the term selfie came out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 2010s.
Was it 2010?
Yeah, around there.
I took my first selfie back in August of '93. And I've got that picture posted to my page
With your
Incredible.
plane.
with my airplane.
That's amazing.
You can just see, I don't know, you can make out it's a person holding a controller, and the controller box is there for the airplane and that. But it's like, I come across that here a couple years ago. I'm like, I can't believe I have that still.
That's amazing. So was anybody doing that back in 93 when you started?
Not that I was aware of,
Yeah.
no.
That's amazing.
They used to have a what they called a hamvention down in Dayton. It was a big national convention for ham radio. That's where I picked up my first camera, was down there.
Okay.
Pretty grainy, but you could still make out.
Yeah.
Eventually, I mounted that camera system to a remote control truck, and I could chase the dog around the house sitting in my living room, or chase the dog around the house outside sitting in my living room. It was a different view because you got the blades of grass, in here, and that camera's just not that far above it.
Right.
So you're kind of like trying to peer up there a little bit on there, and trying to see around the grass. And the dog had fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. So how many planes and helicopters did you go through in those early days?
Never crashed a helicopter,
Okay.
surprisingly. Planes, probably 3 or 4 of them at least.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
Gotcha. What an amazing hobby. I mean, I'm always fascinated with guys who go out with their model planes and stuff like that and fly them around. It looks like a ton of fun. I've never got into it myself. I'm into drone flying for sure, but none of that. So
Right.
I guess kind of when was like the aha moment, or I guess how did things progress from there?
Sometime back in, 2012, there was somebody that posted a YouTube video. I think it was Vengeance in the Sky. It was a laid-off electrical engineer that had a similar plane like what I had. And he mounted somehow a system on there that would ignite rockets, like your bottle rockets.
Yeah.
And some of the little short, I think they were ESTE rockets.
Yep.
He'd mount them on the wings, and he had the controller on there that would push the switch that would light them. So as he's flying this plane around his property out there in the country, he could light these bottle rockets. And I'm like, it revived my passion for it.
Okay.
So I bought another plane. To this day, it's not put back together. Started doing some research on there. Then I seen that they had some better cameras, and I was trying to figure out which one would be best for the transmit-receive frequency. I think they bumped it to 6 meters, I think. And somehow I seen an ad for a drone. I'm like, I can get one already done. I don't have to go through all the hard work and leg work and that. So I think I cooled off a little bit, got busy with kids, whatever on there, older kids, and was single at the time, ended up remarrying. And the conversation started again with the drones with my wife, and she bought me one for my birthday in 2016. Took that out. Living in Delphos, I was afraid to go even a block away. Still see it, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just kind of scary.
Yeah.
So I think that following weekend or a couple days later, we had something out to her parents, which lived in the county. So I took it out there, flew it down a couple times, brought it back, decided to go out above the pond and take a picture of a selfie of me standing on the cabin porch. Well, the drone landed in the pond.
Oh.
So just as I didn't know the controls enough on there, how to prevent it, if you will. So I threw the controller down and went out there in the pond to grab it, and I grabbed it just as it disappeared below the water.
Oh no.
So a little bit of probably a $1,600 expense in the water.
Wow. Talk about a splashdown.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I think that following Monday I went out and bought another one. I'm like, this isn't stopping me.
Right.
So we'd ordered another one, had it within the week, and back up. And ended up having that one for quite some time, ended up selling it. but I've replaced it with multiple other ones. Now I think I'm probably up to at least 10 different drones now.
Okay.
They all have different uses.
Right. I really am excited to get into that. So I guess you started flying drones again in 2016. You got your first one, crashed it, got your second one. I guess what was the growth from there? Was it a buddy that wanted you to film something, or you started marketing it?
No, just always had a passion to explore, if you will, on there. Started taking some pictures and then created a page, just to put it out there as a hobby.
Yeah.
And getting comments and likes and this, that, or the other on there, then I don't know that I have a great answer of why. It's just, I guess, the interest of other people.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't feel too bad about this here, so I started taking pictures. Then, people asked me, can you take a picture of this or that? So I just started taking pictures at random and didn't charge for anything on there.
Uh-huh.
Then at some point, I don't remember where the crossover was on there. It's like, I can do this as a business if it's just part-time.
Yeah.
And that's where it led up to where it is today.
Okay. So you started, was it a website, a Facebook page?
Facebook page.
Facebook page was the very first thing.
Yes.
And is that kind of when you got the nickname, the Drone Guy?
At some point in there.
A
lot of it was we would be out in public somewhere and somebody would recognize me or something like that. The kids, it's like, you're the drone guy. And it's like, I guess so.
Yeah.
And the kids would be at school or kids would be somewhere and they would be talking about whatever the topic was, and they would say who their dad was. And it's like, where do you live at? And they would tell them, it's like, your drone guy's your dad. So, now it's just the term, the drone guy.
Yeah, Drone Guy. Well, that's how I knew you at first. I didn't even know, the business name at first. And then, sure enough, saw it on Facebook. I'm like, oh, yeah, Elite Drone Services, that's his name. But, I always knew you as the Drone Guy. So
I was talking to a friend of ours she was my daughter's cheer coach, and she's a marketing person. Mm-hmm. And she had suggested, with hashtags and that. And I said that I mentioned the drone guy. She goes, that's a great one.
Yeah.
So that's how we started doing our videos and our posts. We put the hashtag on there.
Oh, that's so awesome. So I guess kind of take us from, you started doing stuff for free, started charging clients, kind of take us through like the crawl, walk, run stage, kind of how business grew and progressed.
I'm 9 years into it now. I don't know that I'm not full blown into it. I know that.
Yeah.
The growth on there is just doing a lot of free stuff, volunteer stuff, if you will. Mm-hmm. Getting the name out there, seeing somebody an organization that wants some photos, take them for them, try to edit them the best I could, and let them do with what they wanted with them.
Yeah.
But at some point in time on there, I don't remember what year it was, I think I'd posted some videos of the Vandale Drive-In. Mm-hmm. And now a friend of mine said something about, you got to be careful what you do on there because you need a license to do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, really? So I'm not the type of person that asks for permission. I'm not the type of person to ask for forgiveness. I'll ask for permission first. So I'm like, I wanted to be in good graces with the FAA, so I got the number down there to the field agent down there and bounced some questions off of him and told him, I said, I'm going to throw myself under the bus here. I said, I've done this here. How can I write this? And he said, it's really not a big deal. And explained that, if you're doing pictures and you're making any monetary value out of that whatsoever, or someone is, you need a license to do that. Even though I do it for free and I give it to you to post on your page for marketing, that's a monetary value.
Okay.
If I'm not receiving anything out of it, that doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
You're getting something out of that for use. So I had got my license and advanced from there, so then it wasn't, any handcuffs, if you will, to do this or do that. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of rules we have to follow, for safety and whatnot. And once I advanced on that part there, I would get approached for property photos. And that's probably how it started out, as if somebody wants a land or a property photo of their homestead, doing a few of them, posting them, then get a few more phone calls. Then it
Yeah.
would go dormant for a while on there, not having a lot of video editing skills or photo editing skills. The more I'd done, the better it got. And unfortunately, people love death, injury, or destruction. So if you post a fire, if a house on fire or a car accident or something like that, the tornado, a flood damage, people want to see that. And once you start posting pictures like that or videos, you can see the reactions on that particular post, and your likes and followers start to grow on your page.
Yeah.
And then you start getting known a little bit more. And that's where the drone guy comes in. It's like, oh, you're the one taking all them pictures, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes, that's me.
That's interesting. So it was never really your property pictures or anything like that gave you the following you have today. It was more the tragic.
The random pictures.
Yeah.
And it's obviously the injury pictures or the death and destruction, mainly destruction, if you will.
Yeah.
That piques a lot of interest. That's what makes the front page on any newspaper.
Well, sure.
They post that.
Yeah.
It was never our intention to do that. It was just keeping people informed, if you will. This is what happened there. And my interest as well. I'm certainly no ambulance chaser.
Right.
But if the opportunity presented itself and I was in the area and drove by, I'm like, I got time. I'll throw the drone up, take a picture, and get out.
Yeah.
And any time on that started there, I would always find the OIC on that accident scene and make sure they were okay with me putting the drone up. Never been refused. Sometimes they'll ask, don't post any pictures until a certain time. And I've never given them any pushback on anything like that there.
Yeah.
Never good.
Right. So what I really want to dive into is, they've torn the Macy's building down at the mall. That has been kind of a huge thing in our area. I'm not even really sure why, but people are going nuts over that stuff. So
Right.
kind of how did that job come about? Was that your idea? Were you asked to do it?
No, I wasn't asked. Found out it was vacant and it was going to be torn down, and I'm wanting to brush up on my interior skills with the drone with an FPV, and what better place to do it? With all the openness in there, the history of it, just getting a first person's view from myself.
Yeah.
If I crash it, ain't gonna hurt anything inside. So I'd contacted a few people on there and got told no, and it was over his head. So I contacted the person I thought was in charge, talked with her, and she talked with the demolition guy, and they were all on board with it. Gave them the lowdown on it, what I wanted to do and what the end goal was, and got permission from the demo guy and got in.
That's all you needed.
That's all I needed.
Yeah.
I run a mechanical business, plumbing and mechanical business full time. And I guess that's probably the important factor in the drone business. If it wasn't for the mechanical business, I wouldn't have been able to fund the drone business.
Gotcha.
It got to be expensive real quick,
Yeah.
especially when you drop a drone in water.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and there's been a few drone crashes. I think I've had two put the drone out of commission.
Yeah.
One I sent into California for repairs, like $750.
Oh my.
Was trying to do a video of my Jeep, and we were running down a back road, and I'm trying to come in on a profile view of it and then pan in on it, and I wasn't paying attention to my altitude. Wife was driving, it's just like, turn around, I crashed it. So, and we can always see where it's at on the GPS.
Yeah.
So it wasn't off far from us, probably 100 feet at the most when it crashed, but we didn't know where it was at in the woods. So I could ping it on the controller to see where the last location was. I can tell it crashed at, I think, 87 feet height at certain GPS coordinates. So we found that. It was still up in the tree, probably 8-10 feet. I was able to get a long stick and drop it. And when it landed on the side that held the SD card.
Oh no.
and that card popped out. All I wanted was the card. I didn't really care because I thought it was going to be some decent video. The card popped out, and it's just a little micro card, and it was in a hickory nut tree, and everything below the hickory nut tree is black.
Mm-hmm.
It was impossible to find.
Never found it.
Never found it. So we set that in and got it repaired and then put it back in service, if you will.
Yeah.
And part of the growth on there was also with a drone provider company for a national company. I don't know how they do that on there, but if let's say Thermal Gard needs something with property photos or businesses, whatever on there, how they get these numbers, I don't know, but they would call this national company, and they would hire a drone pilot for that area.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd got on that list there, so we were doing mapping for a company. And I think we've done a lot of Kroger lots for them, and we would map that. Basically what it is like Google View.
Yeah.
We would go and take, say, a map of the Walmart, east side or west side on there. And that series of photos on that whole property on there would be, say, 1,500 photos.
Okay.
So they would stitch all them into basically one photo. So you could see the whole property at a low level and see everything you needed to see. But if you needed to see something particular on that parking lot or the building, you could zoom in and take that 1,300 photos to 500 to 100 to 6 to 1, to where you could see the detail on that.
Wow.
Because a lot of these here were only flown at like 60 feet in height. So the detail on that photo was extremely well. What they used it for, I don't know. If it was for pavement or for building, to identify certain features on there. Obviously, Google View can't do that.
Yeah.
But I think that one I done up in, Kendallville, Indiana, I wasn't paying attention and launched the drone, and up it went into a power line.
Oh, no.
So thankfully I had a second drone there for backup.
Get it done.
Yeah, to get the job done, got it done. Did the other 2 or 3 I had scheduled that day. And that drone there was the one I crashed in the Jeep, and that ended up for parts to a person down in Texas. He wanted some pieces off of it and the batteries out of that. So it was a win-win, if you will.
Gotcha.
Huge loss on my part, but wasn't a total loss. I could
Yeah.
get some money back out of it.
Able to salvage it. So, I mean, I think that kind of takes us into, tell us about the different kind of drones you have, kind of the cost and then the function behind it. I know you mentioned you got some FPV drones, you got some thermal drones. I know you got a little bit of everything. So kind of take us through those.
Yeah, the thermal drone's probably my biggest workhorse, if you will. I bought my first one of them, I think that was probably around $3,500 probably, and it was just bought as a hobby, as most of them have been. If I can do it as a business, great. If I don't, I really don't care because I love doing it.
Yeah.
So we'd bought that one, and with hopes of enticing some business. So we done some few photos here and there and tried to do a couple of roof inspections, if you will, on there, try to identify some things. And then a buddy of mine had said something about, I wonder if that would work for locating a deer. I don't know. So we tried it one night, and it was a low grain camera on that one now. On that one there, like a 160 by 120 DPI on the thermal, which is pretty grainy.
Yeah.
So that was great for low-level views, for windows, for doors, for roofs. You could see a lot of anomalies with that there, and it was great for that low-level stuff. So we tried it that one night, and we could see some stuff on there. But time we got some height on there, let's just say this table at 100 feet was one dot. If you get 125 feet, it was gone.
Right.
So it was pretty much useless for that there, but it gave me the want and desire to improve. So we had sold, I kept that one there. The next year I bought the better camera one for probably $7,000 probably.
Wow.
And as a hobby.
Yeah.
I just wanted to toy around with it. So we bought it and done some scouting with it, with some deer and that, and then I think we made a plug on Facebook on there. Then I got a phone call, and then another one, and then another one. So this coming season will be our 6th year into what we call deer recovery. So we can be up probably 400 feet and still see quite a bit of an area and still have that resolution that we need to see what's on the ground. With that one there, we run that one for a few years, and then they had a larger one coming out that was a waterproof thermal. And I was doing, I think maybe the first year I'd done maybe a dozen of them, certainly not enough to pay for the drone at all. But the hobby aspect of it still intrigued me. I'm like, I'll buy it and waste the money, if you will. People spend $150,000, $200,000 on a bass boat just to go fish.
Right.
So I thought, what the heck?
Yeah.
Some women probably have $3,000 tied up in shoes in their closets, probably.
Sure.
100%. Clothes and shoes.
There you
Can't
go.
ask for anything more.
Everybody has their hobbies. So with that one there, then I started getting a lot more phone calls. We went from like a dozen the 3rd year that we'd done, and then the 4th year that I think we'd done probably 50 of them.
Wow.
On the drone or the deer recoveries. And with that there, we were discussing, trying to get into the thermal imagery more with inspections and whatnot. That's a hard market to tap. You got to know somebody. And I don't know anybody yet.
Okay.
But we had bought the waterproof drone that following year. We've had it 2 years now, 3. This will be our 3rd year for that there. And that one there was, when we talk about cost, that one there was another $15,000 invested.
Is that the most expensive drone you have?
Yes, right now, yeah.
Gotcha.
And then with all the stuff, the lights that we have for it, the extra batteries, the chargers, the accessories for backup and all that, we've got a little bit more tied up into it. But it's a workhorse that pays for itself.
Yeah.
Your old window cleaner is trash. Ditch it and get Dudley on duty. It's what the pros use.
So you got your thermal drone, mostly used for deer recovery, and then some rescue operations as well. What other drones you got?
Let's see, I've got a DJI Avata 2. That's the one that we've used for the mall extensively over there.
Okay.
Got an extra one of them for backup. I did suffer quite a bit of damage on that one there, and decided that I need a second one just in case I do put it out of commission for a day or two on there.
Yep.
We've got a couple other, the FPV drones typically on mine have a cage around them for the prop guards. So we can bump into things and it doesn't affect it on there unless we get sucked up to a wall. Then that downdraft on there will drop the 2 closest blades to that, or even a helicopter will do. That'll have that downwash on there. It'll drop down, then suck up to a wall, or a ceiling. Be too close to the ceiling because you're sucking in air on there. It's it'll literally suck itself to a ceiling, and it'll stay right there.
Really?
Until the computer senses on there that something's wrong, it'll shut down.
Okay.
And then it'll drop to the ground.
Fascinating.
The Avata 2 that we used in the mall there, that took a lot of abuse, mainly on the escalator.
Okay.
I wanted to get that ride down from the 3rd floor to the 2nd to the 1st and make it one smooth jaunt down there. It took almost 24 tries because when you're in there on that, it doesn't run on GPS anymore because of the concrete, the metal.
Yeah.
It's not going to get the GPS signal. That's what holds them things right. If you get a big gust of wind and that thing's holding there, that's going to fight towards that wind and keep it on a GPS coordinates. It's going to stay there. When you're in a mall like that, you get some wind currents on there, it'll want to drift where it wants to go. And then if it does get a GPS signal, it wants to right itself and sometimes go back 6 feet. But that one there, being in that narrow space of the escalators, wanted to get that drift on there.
Yeah.
So it was great practice because now I know what to do, what not to do in places like that there to keep the drone forward and keep it centered, if you will. There's some tricks you learn there. A lot of it's just forward momentum.
Yeah.
As you create that air current, leave it behind so you can create some new on there. And I think when I videoed that restaurant coming out of that there, I thought, well, I'll try the escalator one more time. Maybe I'll get it down. I'm thinking, I made it. now I got one more floor to go. And then as I came down, I'm like, no, that's the front entrance. Like, I made it. I actually made it through the whole escalator. I'm like, great. And it was pretty smooth video. There was a couple of flaws that I see that I wish I'd done differently, but ultimately it did what I wanted it to do. And I think you probably seen that video there,
Yeah.
that very first one, that it created a lot of interest around.
Oh, for sure.
And I thought I had a huge following on the page on there, which I do, but I think a lot of that's from the deer recovery and the local pictures with the fires and the accidents and that. But I was amazed how locals came onto the page. It's just like, how did these people not see this page before?
Right.
It's just like, and I had a friend of mine call me, and he goes, "You do any advertising on Facebook?" I'm like, "No, it's really a waste of money." You know, like my wife and I were talking the day before on there. We had got an ad or notification from Facebook on there. For $30, you can boost this post for 1,500 more reach.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm already up to 30,000. That $30 is wasted.
Right.
So I said, no, I feel it's a waste of money. He goes, dude, you are all over my news feed. Because every time I click on something, there you are. So I get up, I turn it on, and there you are. I'm like, that's what I wanted. Great.
Yeah. That's amazing. So I want to take it back real quick to just you flying in the mall. So you have hundreds and hundreds of hours of flight time.
Yes.
And doing that shot, coming down the escalators, that took you said, plus 15 times to get that done. I mean, that just tells you how much of an art, how much of a craft it is that you've had to focus on. I mean, to go in that building and it move that much and somebody of your caliber, do it in that many takes. I mean, it really is an art. Nobody can just pick up a drone and really do what you do, which is why you have your business and why you're so successful.
Yeah, it seemed easy to me at first, too. It's like, I can do this. There isn't going to be much to it. But once you get in there and learn, there's a lot of outside forces that will alter that.
Yeah.
And then overcoming that you got to come up with some tricks to overcome it. And I see a lot of FPV pilot videos on YouTube and that. I think there was one I seen several years ago that they had an international championship in Dubai with an FPV drone racing course and all that.
Yep.
And I think a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old boy won that.
I've seen those. Those guys
It's
have
I see them like racing through like a factory with everything banging from the ceiling, and they're doing flips and going backwards through doors. And like obviously they know the track and they've ran it and they know what they're supposed to do, but even just hitting those moves in quick succession like that just feels.
And I don't know. And looking at what I've done on there, it's like they have to have some pre-knowledge of that site ahead of time. How do they know you can go down this way here and shoot up into a 3-foot hole in the ceiling and out?
Right.
How do they know that at 60 mile an hour? I don't get it.
Even if you know it, it's like, okay, it's a 3-foot hole still. Like how are you going to stop on a dime and
Timing
shoot
it
up
out.
vertically?
Right.
It blows my mind whenever I see it.
Yeah. So after a while being in there, I got more brave, and then once I learned how to operate in that type of an environment, it became easier. Then it's just like the holes that were 4 foot. It's like you get kind of leery going into it, and then pretty soon it's like that's a 2-foot hole, no big deal, right through, or between some wires or under a shelf or something like that. There, not a big deal.
How has the development of the technology, because like you said, you've been doing this since the 90s, like how has the change in, obviously going from, RC trucks and RC planes and stuff like that to now you have the race course drones and everything like that where it's so fast and so controlled. How has that change in development affected you and affected your business and stuff?
The controls to me haven't changed because I've always operated on what I call a gimbal stick, 2-stick radio. That's never changed for me, but all the other bells and whistles that come with it, it's just extraordinary, especially with the GPS on it, how well that works, how precise it is. There's times when I come back to land sometimes I'll just push return to home button on that. So what that is with the GPS on there, as long as I do my check marks on my mental list, if you will, on there, that drone will come back and land where it took off from. So if somebody knocks it out of my hand, I drop it, or the battery dies on that controller, as long as I did what I'm supposed to do before I take off, that drone should come back and land where it took off at, unless there's some outside forces that prevent that. And I've never had a flyaway yet, and I hope I never do, but the pages that I follow on Facebook with the professional pages and that, there's some people that's had some fly-offs. And it makes me wonder what they didn't do or did do, if they're the ones that may have caused that. I don't know. But there's been times where I take off. I think with the technology now, before the drone would land somewhere in, say, a 6-foot circle where it took off at. Now they've got what they call a precise landing. And there's times I can see the drone come down and it'll adjust over. So I thought I read somewhere that the drone will remember what's below it. Wow. As far as, the landing pad that I'll use once in a while. If I got some high grass or something like that there, or I want that identified, somebody sees that orange pad on the ground, they're probably going to avoid it. But it also gives me a smooth surface that the props don't hit some high blades of grass or something like that. But if it recognizes that there, it'll right itself and it can safely land. But I always try to take off. If I'm in an area on there, congested, if you will, I try to make sure I have nothing anywhere in a 20-foot circle around me, just in case that drone's off a little bit on there. I don't have to worry about it, clipping a car mirror or, a pole or a power line.
Yeah.
So with you being so passionate with your drones, have you taken them to other states, like on a vacation, to kind of see?
Oh, yeah.
Favorite place?
It's just like your phone. You never leave home without one.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah, I've always got one in the vehicle, if not two. The main truck I use on there, most of my equipment is in there. I guess I don't call it drones now. In a way, I call it equipment, just as much as I use it.
Right.
If we go on, if we fly, I take a Mini 4 Pro with me, which is just smaller than a brick. I can use that with just my phone if I need to. But we got a controller I'll use with that there. So one battery really will do what I want to do. It's mainly just taking a picture or maybe seeing something off the shore or something like that there, and I can plug that in and charge it. But normally I'll make room for a small case. Take the regular case I've got and condense it down into more of a compaction, if you will. A little harder to stow as far as getting things in and out of it, but everything's in there that I need.
Gotcha. So what is that, the smallest one you have, about the size of a brick then?
I got one here. It's called a DJI Neo. It's probably
size of a teacup plate or something.
Yeah, probably about a 5-inch circle.
Wow.
And that one there, I bought 2 of them here in the last few months, a DJI Flip and a DJI Neo. And I haven't personally flown the DJI Flip yet, except started it up and signed it into my account. Mm-hmm. And then I'd done a presentation for the Fort Jennings School, and I knew it was up and running, so I let the kids fly that drone over there. But that one there and the DJI Neo will fly on hand gestures.
Really?
But also you can use a controller with it as well, but it's also, you can use it as just a standalone drone that'll fly on hand gestures. Basically just turn it on, it'll take off, and then whatever the hand gestures are, follow me or take a picture. I haven't got into it to know the full bells and whistles that it has, but both of them will do standalone or without any controllers.
So I'm assuming like size translates a lot to like flight time and payload capacity and things like that.
Yeah, and then too, the Neo and the Flip are certainly not ones for wind. And that's the other reason why we have other drones on there, is for the winds that we encounter here or there. The Neo and the Flip, I would probably be afraid to get them out into a 10-mile-an-hour wind. They may or may not come back. The wind could certainly take them and it would just fight itself until it ran out of battery.
Yeah, some more indoor use for those.
Yes, and we want to get into more realty videos, interior videos and stuff. I'd done a freebie for a friend of ours that started an Airbnb in Grover Hill, and asked her if I could fly through just for some content, just to practice as well. And that one there took me probably about 9 or 10 tries to get through the whole Airbnb on one clip without any cuts or edits to it. getting it just right. And that generated a little bit of success on there. It picked me up a few interior jobs, and that was the goal of it. Give her some advertising for her business with the Airbnb, but also give me some content for the page that I could pick up some business with it. And that's why I bought the Flip and the Neo on there for that there.
Yeah.
Different camera capabilities. I think the Avata 2 seems to be the one that's the best for it so far. But I haven't practiced with that Neo yet, or the Flip, to really put it through the rugged course on it, if you will.
With the background, like I said, since the 90s, and you've seen that technology, where do you see it going? Like, where do you think, what are some applications that you can, like, imagine yourself doing, or any other, drone business getting into in the future, say in the next 5-10 years?
I can see a lot of it advancing now just for the security purposes of it. Surveillance. Unfortunately, that comes with peeping toms, if you will, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, people worry about that, but from a drone view, it's really difficult to see even in car windows and that, just because of the glares on windows and all that. Seeing in somebody's house or a business on there, when you're up in the air, if you're looking in there, all you're going to see is floor, in my opinion. But that's a worry for people, and I get it. Can a drone come down at your window? Yeah, absolutely could. Most people, I would hope, wouldn't do that, but you're going to have a few bad apples. That's just society.
Right.
But with the aspect of the security on there, I can see eventually a lot of the police forces having them. A lot of them have them now, but even the local ones having more of them. They're obviously an expense, and then the experience you'll need to keep these in flight without crashing one will be the challenge for them. If you don't do it on a regular basis, you're not going to be proficient at it, especially when you get caught in a situation on there, a wind current or close to a tree. What's your instinct on there? Sometimes you need to practice that stuff on there so you don't find yourself with a drone on the ground. But I can see them advancing into automation to where they'll just send one up. It'll fly a certain course on there, gather the data that it needs, and then come back. And I think that's probably where it's at now on some of these. They have what they call docking stations. I don't know much about them. And now you've got delivery.
Yeah.
I can see someday, that I guess in answer to your question, I can see the technology advancing someday on there where you're going to start a pizza business and start delivering it with drones. Certainly feasible.
Yeah.
I know the one drone I've got, I can pick up 2 bottles of water with it and drop them. I've got a payload dropping device on there. We've taken it fishing, where we've taken shark bait out and
Dropped it way out.
dropped it 400 or 500 yards offshore. Never had any success yet, but I'm not giving up.
Right.
We had one here a few years ago. We was down, I think, in Florida, and normally what I do, I'll go through stuff and check. If this happens, what am I going to do? So I'll go through a scenario on there and make sure everything's working. This one here, I never checked it in bright sunlight, but I must have had an air gap, because what it does on the dropping device on there, it works on the bottom LED on the light. So when you activate that light, it's a photo sensor. When that photo sensor picks that up, it opens an arm and then drops your payload.
Okay.
Well, when I had put that on there, there must have been enough of a light gap around that seal on there that would let the bright Florida sunshine in. Well, when I went out about 400 or 500 yards to drop that bait, it wouldn't drop. And I'm like, I know this works. And I could see on the controller that the light was on. Like, why isn't it dropping? So I had my wife basically reel the drone back in. And then it started getting busier on the beach, people around, and I don't like that. It becomes a safety hazard. Then when I've got a string involved in it, where I can get caught up on the string, and then who knows where it's going to fall.
Right.
So it's like, do I drop the drone? Do I just waste it? Is that the best thing to do? So I decided to keep it high, keep the string below the props, and had her reel it in. So we're basically reeling a drone in on there. And then once we got to a certain point out there, people stayed away. It wasn't a big deal. It was to me, but it really wasn't to them, if you will. But it's like, I need to get this down. So as I brought it in close enough on there, she had the string taut on there, then I was able to breach up there and release that string off of it, and we can get it back down. I think another time that happened on there, basically we had done that, and then we had to lay the pole on the ground as it come down and keep the string in the sand and keep reeling it in so it wouldn't get caught up on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, fishing, used it for that. I can see a lot of people finding other uses for the things, especially with security.
Yeah, I was doing some research in preparation for this, and I know there are companies using it to cloud seed to make it rain in certain areas. They take certain types of drones up and introduce some chemical into the cloud and make it rain for irrigation for farmers. And I just
Really?
thought, man, that is insane. Yeah. Yeah, it's some new technology apparently that, yeah, they're using it to cloud seed.
I know I think down by Sydney, at least this was when I was there, they were using them as crop dusters, like the larger drones, because it's a lot cheaper to fly that than to fuel up an airplane, hire a pilot, It's,
Right.
And you can cover a lot of ground really fast because instead of going back to the airport at the end, you just land and then pop it in the back of a truck and then move on to the next field.
Right.
And I was like, that's such a clever solution to a problem I didn't even think about.
Right.
Yeah, we've checked into the agricultural drones 3 years ago, and I'm not convinced that the battery time for me is there for the investment. Like at that time when we checked them, the battery life on that particular drone was like 6 minutes.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
You got to be flying.
Yeah.
And you're talking a $2,000 battery, but the battery can be recharged in X amount of minutes as well. So you're going to have 3 or 4 batteries on standby to keep that replenished on there, and it can be done, and it is being done. But if you've got one drone at an investment of $30,000 for that particular use, if that drone crashes, what are you going to do? Because you've only got a certain amount of time, from what I understand, on spraying before you can't do it anymore. So I think the application window for that is, a 2-week window? So if that drone's in for repair and you can't take care of that farmer that's paying you to do it, he's not going to be happy. His crop's not getting done. So we'd come up with a plan, which would be to have 3 of them. One up, one ready to go, one lands, the other one takes off, back and forth. Then if one of them gets broke for whatever reason or becomes non-functional, we've got a 3rd spare tire that we can put into
The rotation.
the rotation, if you will, and gimp us along. And if that second one drops, we still got one we could finish the job with if we had to. It might be some long hours, but it could be done.
Yeah.
At a huge investment, but there is great money in it. With the cost versus a winged manned airplane, it's quicker for him to do the field than it is for the drone, a lot quicker, but it's not as cheap. The drones are a lot cheaper on there, but more time.
Yeah.
But with running the plumbing mechanical business, we've got a couple of large accounts that we do, and if I decide to do that window of opportunity for the agricultural, I'll have to put these large clients off to do that there, and I'm not at a point where I want to let that linger.
Right.
If I let them go, then that's the business there, if you will.
Right. And I mean, 2 to 3 drones, it would take obviously more than you to operate those, and those pilots would have to be skilled.
Yes. Yeah, you'd want what they call a pit crew. You'd basically invest in a flatbed trailer, 16, 20 foot long. You'd have a landing deck on top of that. You'd have your chemical tanks on that, your charging systems, which would probably be, if I'm not mistaken, like a 10,000 watt generator, which would be an inverter, because you just can't put just a regular generator on it because of the sensitivity of the electronic equipment. They have a regular inverter, if you will, that just pumps out the electricity. You have a modified, I don't quite understand these. The modified is one that it's an alternating type current, I believe. I'm not sure. I'm probably ignorant on that there, but I've tested a couple of these devices for some pumps. I've got a couple of systems that I've designed for a pump system for the banks and that if their pump goes out, it'll switch over to this battery device on there and they can still run their sump pumps. I can run a modified inverter on that pump, but as I plug them in and tested the system before I build them, I can hear that pump at a different tone than it is plugged into the wall socket. You can hear it up and down. It's got a different tone to it, but it's not going to hurt the sump pump because it's not a sensitive electronic equipment. So they go to what they call a pure sine wave, and that gives you your true 120 volt shore power. So so you're talking a trailer, a truck that can pull it, the drone investment on there, the generator, your chemicals, and it's hard to, not difficult by any means on there, but to get the license to do that.
Okay.
First you got to get your business license. Say I'm going to be doing this as a business. Then you got to contact the Department of Agriculture and apply for the application to get licensed through the Department of Agriculture. You can't even do that unless you have your business license, a business that you don't even run yet. So once you go through all that there, then you can approach the FAA and say, I want to get I don't know what the certificate is for that there, that you would file for exemptions for an unmanned drone to do what a manned aircraft does. And the exemption would be like safety belt. I don't need a safety belt on a drone. There's no person. So you got to file an exemption for that there, that you don't have a seat belt, and explain why. But before you can do all that to get approved, you have to own the drone. So you got to buy the the $30,000 investment,
right?
Purchase that there, and that's the aircraft that you got to approach the FAA with, and that takes anywhere from 3 to 8 months. So you got a a $40,000 investment at the minimum, from what I've understood, to invest in it before you can even get approved to do it.
That's wild. And if, like you're saying, if you wanted to do it full time, be really good at it, you're talking 3 drones, all this equipment, multiple men. I mean, you're $150,000, pretty easy. You could have wrapped up in that before you even know if you're approved.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. If you can do one drone. I don't know how all that works on there, but if you're going to do it, in my opinion, 3. That way you're not going to be at a handicap or severely. You can still operate the business and not lose it.
Do it the right way anyway.
Yeah, do it the right way. Go big or go home, they say.
Wow.
And I've got a couple of friends that do that on a small scale, and they're very successful at it.
Yeah.
At a point where it's like, I don't want to give up the mechanical business.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, our area of the country is very agricultural. I mean, so yeah, definitely no shortage of clients for sure.
Right.
But wow, really fascinating stuff. I guess we could kind of transition into our next segment. These are just some quick fire questions that we ask every guest.
Okay.
So the first question is, how do you start the day, tea or coffee?
Neither.
Neither.
What?
Water or a soda, probably.
Soda. What's your go-to?
Root beer.
Root beer. So not even any caffeine.
No caffeine.
No caffeine.
No, I've cut the caffeine out as well.
Man, good for you.
Yeah, I could never.
Me either. All right. What is your favorite local business besides your own?
Favorite local business? I don't know that I have one. That's a good question.
That's all right. We can circle back. Usually some people have like a favorite restaurant or something that's locally owned that they like.
BW3s.
BW3s.
Yeah, that's our go-to. You'll find us there or Applebee's on a Friday or Saturday night.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yep.
Awesome. If you could choose one word to describe entrepreneurship, what would you choose?
Can too.
Can too. Define that for us.
Can't only exist between your ears. If somebody says you can't do something, I can too. Something might be highly improbable, but not impossible.
Awesome.
There was a teacher that I had back when I went to school at Vantage on there, and he just says, I can't do that. You can too. Like, you got to put your mind to it.
Yeah.
So when somebody tells me I can't do something, I'm like, I can. game on.
Yeah. Yeah. Take it as a challenge.
Exactly. Yeah. So can too. Yeah. One word, can too. I've had a license plate that has said that for 20 some years probably.
Awesome.
Been on one of my vehicles. It's on the Jeep I drove in here today.
Oh, that's great.
Wonderful.
I love that.
That's
That
great.
is really iconic of you.
What is the biggest business myth you think? Some people, they think something's true, but it's totally not.
Another good question. I don't know. Give me an example. Get my mind churning here.
What's something that when you were starting your business or one of your businesses that you were like, oh, this is going to be the case, and then as you were going through it, you were like, oh, I was wrong, like something along those lines.
When you say I was wrong, it makes me think back to an old boss that I had years ago. He would always say, I might not be right, but I'm never wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess I don't have an answer for that.
That's all right. That's all right. So maybe what does the future look like for you as
Well,
far as?
let me back up on there.
Okay.
In my train of thought on there, a good thinking on there, it would be when somebody tells me something about a job that I got to go to from the mechanical business.
Yeah.
The biggest myth is, I won't say don't ever believe them, but investigate it yourself.
Yeah.
Take everything that they give you to do the job, if you will, to find the cause of it on there, but don't take it to heart. Just because they say this is what it is, don't go in there and start doing that until you investigate the whole thing on there. Because a lot of times I have customers, and all we do now is commercial industrial. They'll say this here needs replaced. Well, it may, but I want to let me lay eyes on it to make sure that that's the conclusion that's absolutely true on there.
Yeah.
So I'll come in and look at it, and a lot of times they're right, but it's just like, no, that's not what it is on there. Then you explain why, and then, oh, okay.
Yeah. Something my dad always told me growing up was trust but verify.
Yeah.
There you go. So I'm on the right target.
Yeah. Yeah. Assuming can get you in
Absolutely.
trouble.
Absolutely.
That's the moral of the story.
So I found that, pat myself on the back, whatever you want to say on there, I found out the investigating skills like that has created a lot of work for me in the mechanical business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, be thorough. I only want to see that person one time for that particular job.
Right.
And I pride myself on callbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want any.
Right.
I want to see you again, but I want it to be for a different job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because once you start getting the callbacks on there, it starts to really influence if you've got credibility or not. Does he really know what he's doing? And it doesn't matter if it's mechanical or plumbing or heating or a doctor. You got to be good at what you do.
Yeah. It's amazing. So I guess this kind of takes us into the future for you and your business. Is there anything coming up on the horizon or any goals or maybe something you want to do? It just hasn't happened yet?
Keep enjoying it, I guess.
Yeah.
My ultimate goal is eventually give up the mechanical business and do the drones full time.
Yeah.
I'm at a point where I can sustain myself with what I do with the drones and live okay, you know. But I would rather eat steaks instead of macaroni and cheese, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, with that, you know, when you become successful, I don't know if I look at myself successful or not. I'm okay where I'm at, but you get a certain lifestyle on there that you like, and it does good for you. You don't want to go backwards by any means.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we always say, my wife and I, we're very blessed to where we are today. You know, it's come from hard work, so we have no problem donating back for the community, if we will. There's a lot of stuff that we still volunteer for.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one thing we didn't touch on there was with like the fire departments and that. We volunteer a lot for our local fire departments in Allen County, Van Wert County, and Putnam County, where we'll use the thermal drone for that there. We get out on a lot of fire scenes where that drone can detect
Hot spots.
hot spots that they cannot see. And
Yeah.
there's been several fires that, it's not that they think they have it, but it's just like I can tell you where that fire is under that roof they got smoke pouring out on both ends. And like, I can tell you it's right here on that there. So they can then go in, determine how they want to go battle that. They know where it's at now. They know it's over here and not over here.
Yeah.
They know they got smoke pouring out the whole house. And a lot of that there comes from, it'll save them time, it'll save them water, it'll save, the homeowner, keep the loss down for them there if at all possible. That's, I don't get paid for any of that, and I never ask for it, never want it. It's just something that I love to do because of the passion with the drones. I've got a tool to use. We've been blessed getting where we are today. I don't mind doing that.
Yeah.
With the firefighters that volunteer, they don't get paid to do that either. So they're volunteering their time, which is very valuable. But I enjoy going out and, finding that and using the drone to use it. So.
Yeah, for good. I mean, something like that in that scenario, that's potentially life-saving. I mean, if they can come up with a better plan to attack, a house fire, that's right. Amazing.
We had one over here recently. Well, there's been several of them here recently on there that one particular one they thought they had it, and I showed up there late. Just it's all self-deployment, if you will. I get a page for something like that. If I can go, great. If I can't, they understand.
Right.
Like one fire chief said on there, I'll expect nothing but be appreciative of whatever I get. The particular one we had here in the last few weeks was, I showed up, I think they had it wrapped up, and he wanted me to do a quick scan on it. He said, sure. So I did, and then found out we still had some hot spots up in the peak. And what that does on there, if they leave thinking they've got it and it doesn't present itself, then they're going to have to come back and get all the resources back out in a few hours or the next day, and they're back battling the fire again. And it could be worse.
Right.
So that particular one there, they took the chainsaw up and they cut that peak open on the spots that I found and was able to put it back out. There's been several of them like that there. So, yeah, I'm hoping the grandkids that decide to take the business. I've got at least one son that has a huge interest into it, and a couple of grandsons. I'm hoping that they take over and do what I do now, and especially with the volunteering on there.
Yeah.
Until the fire departments get their own drones and resources and that, I'm hoping they got the time to do that as well. Mm-hmm. So eventually I'll put the pipe wrenches down and play with the toys.
Yeah.
So, and then retire. Mm-hmm. Heaven forbid, it's hard to work somewhere, when you need 2 legs and 2 hands. You got to walk to a job or crawl or whatever you got to do, climb a ladder. Mm-hmm. Heaven forbid if I can sit in a wheelchair and run a drone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do this a long time.
I hope that never happens.
Gotcha. Well, one thing we always ask everybody is, what is their favorite quote? Something that's helped them out, something they've always hung on to. What would that be for you?
The can too comes to mind first. Another one I've heard years ago on there was learn, grow, and move forward.
Awesome.
I feel if we take that in every aspect of our life, things will change. Learn from it, grow with it, and move forward. Got to put it behind you.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. It's amazing. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I'm curious, what advice would you give to anyone who has a hobby that they're passionate about and they would want to make it into a business?
Put their whole heart into it. Just have the determination to do it. Ignore the negativity, and if it's something that you really want to do, ignore all the negative and focus on the positive and find a way. There's always a way. Always a way. You just got to find it.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. Well, I think that's all we got for today. So I want to thank you guys for all tuning in, and thank you, Les, for coming in. And we're going to have your business page, your Facebook, and all your services in the description, and so people can check you out. So yeah, thanks for coming in. Excited to see where you take everything and grow your business. And any way we can support each other, we definitely want to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.